Welcome to Making Awesome, Chapter 22. This one's an interesting one. It's our first 5-member podcast thing. We're excited. This one's all about 3D printing for kids, and we have 2 resident kids with us. They're teens, but, you know, because algorithms and all that kind of stuff, we just had to call it 3D printing for kids. So, before we get into it, let's talk about our sponsor. Sponsored by 3D Musketeers, as always. If you are looking to make awesome, you can reach out to us at 3dmusketeers.com. Links will be in the description below. We have Brad, we have Justin, we got Tad and Thomas, as we always do. First up, how's everybody doing? How's everyone doing?
Doing good.
Pretty good.
Not
Pretty
too
good.
bad, not
There's
too
a-
bad.
Snowed a lot here. We have like 4 feet of snow.
It is 74
Yeah.
degrees in Florida.
It's like 75 to 80 right now.
It was like 30 degrees a day ago.
Yeah, I know, but that's when it was like negative 30 for Thomas, okay?
Silly Brad.
Yeah, 30 degrees might be cold for us,
You
Brad.
you can walk outside, and if there's enough moisture on your body, your hair will freeze. Yeah, it's
Why
pretty
would
fun.
anybody want to
Sounds
live
fun.
there?
It's a fun time, Grant.
Yeah, none of that sounds like something that I would necessarily consider fun. But hey, whatever. Let's jump right into it here. We'll start with Brad. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what brings you here, and why you make awesome. Then Justin, you'll go next. And let's roll into this, boys. Brad, hi.
I'm thinking. I 3D print all sorts of things.
Dead air.
Put him on the spot, Grant. Look what you've done.
Okay,
Sorry.
fine. Justin, go. Brad, you're next.
Sorry.
We'll come back to you.
All right, well, I'm Justin. I'm a junior in high school in Los Angeles, California, and I love making things from 3D printing to out of cardboard, so
Like
me.
Pepakura, or what do you mean? Out of cardboard?
like literally a cardboard box if I need to make an enclosure really quickly because
Look, I get that it's
Whatever
expensive
works.
to live in California, but come on, dude, cardboard boxes. Come on.
I don't know, Grant. I went dog on it too hard. I haven't
Yeah.
told Justin or showed him yet that we built a computer inside an empty PBR box.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just a nightmare.
Well,
works.
mind you, they are underage, so they don't know what PBR is, other than that it's the Pro Bull Riding Association.
Other than it's the coolest beer ever.
It gets you drunk.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Sponsored. Hey, I'm just saying, if you want to give us a dual sponsorship, PBR and Prusa, we will print you a PBR can on a Prusa printer, and I think that
There
would
we
be
go.
very cool.
There we go.
I don't think PBR would qualify as beer in the Czech Republic, though. So they'd probably be pretty
Probably
close to
not,
that.
but-
Here in the United States.
It barely is. I mean, you know,
It's
there's
beer
a lot of
adjacent.
things we could do here. Yeah, it's like
Beer
kind of water.
adjacent. This is.
Yeah.
Oh, we've already started the adjacent talks.
Oh, no.
Okay. All right, Brad,
be
you
great.
got something for us?
Yeah. I'm Brad. I'm a sophomore in high school in Tampa, Florida. About half an hour from Grant. I 3D print all the things, sometimes for no purpose other than to make it.
I'm gonna reference the
But-
cinder block that you.
I was just
printed
about to say.
for
I'll
no
have to
other
get that,
reason
yeah.
than to beat a record that we had.
And
It is-
to be hilarious and make
Yeah.
Oh,
my
yeah.
dreams come true.
For those that don't know about the cinder block, it is the full XY build volume of a Prusa that Brad printed at like what 5 millimeters a second over the
Should
course.
I grab
of-
it?
If you want to grab it, you
Yes,
can.
please.
Grab it,
I haven't.
please.
please.
I've seen photos, but I haven't seen like.
Yeah,
The
it's
actual thing.
Yeah.
Wait, how
It's-
long did it take?
like 7 days.
Continuously.
That's awesome.
See,
Yeah.
so this is why you want a 3D printer.
But no,
Print
So you
cinder blocks.
could-
Justin, here's the deal. He printed at like 5 millimeters a second. There is a level. He was just trying to beat a record. It was when
Okay.
Brad went up to printed solid. He left it running with
Oh.
a pie cam to watch it, so he could kill it if he
Mhm.
needed to. It's a gorgeous print, and the ironing looks like
Look at that.
slick rip.
Dang! Oh
That
my
is
god,
solid.
it's so good.
Beautiful.
Like, knock on it.
Yeah,
It's not solid.
it won't pick up. That
Oh,
is
the AirPods
solid.
didn't pick it up. That's fine.
That's
Yeah.
so over the top.
Could you?
amazing.
Would that? Is it? How heavy is it?
It's not even that heavy. It's not very solid. It just printed slowly.
Yeah,
No.
Thomas, to
Okay.
give you
I
an
don't know
idea,
exactly how heavy it is.
we normally move the printers at like 85 to 120 millimeters a second. So roughly 25 millimeters to an inch. So, we're anywhere between 3 and 4 inches per second. Brad moved his at 5 millimeters per second. So you're
just-
looking at 1 inch every 5 seconds.
Optimized.
And was it 30% infill? Do you remember the infill number you did on that
It
one?
was somewhere between 10 and 20. I don't remember. It was a while ago already.
That could be very well a load-bearing cinder block, but
Oh, I'm sure.
Brad did that because our record here at 3D Musketeers was 120 hours and 49 minutes. That was a 1,700 gram print. That was a 110% scale human skull for a local comedian. So it is a little different, right? We did ours at speed and a filament change. But nope, Brad, you do hold the local record as far as I'm aware. And see, if I don't know anybody else's longest print times, now you hold the record. See? Ignorance
Official.
is bliss. Yeah, officially. Unofficially, officially. Yeah.
3DM official record.
There you go. See, this is why we should be editing everything, because then you can put, like, a stamp thing saying 3DM approved, right?
Yeah.
That's what I
You
like
can
to
also
say.
edit out that dead air where I couldn't
Yeah.
think of anything.
Nah, we're gonna roll
That's
with
fine.
it. It's
Nah.
so much more difficult to edit all that stuff. Although I say that, and Thomas has done some
You say
awesome
that.
edits. It's too difficult for me because I'm
Yeah.
not knowledgeable in
You
any
just gotta
of
be
this.
fast. It's not hard to
gotta
cut that
gotta go
stuff.
fast.
Gotta go fast. I was gonna say it. Anyways, so we've got Brad and Justin here because, well, they're kids, and they both live at home, and they both have at least one 3D printer. Justin, you have one, right? You have a Mark
One.
3S.
Yeah, just one for
Okay.
now.
Brad has technically you have 2 minis in your possession now, right?
I have 3 printers, and one is living here for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It's leaving soon.
It's on loan, we will say.
Hmm.
Yes.
So Brad has 4 total at the moment.
3.
So, okay, 3. I would love to just get some perspective from you guys as to what it's like having a 3D printer around your parents, right? So what do you see them asking certain things? What was it like to get that first printer, and how'd you get to where you are in terms of comfortability around the rest of the family?
Well, if you go watch last week's episode, we talked about
That's a good plug.
I
That's a
had
good plug. Do more of those. Do more of those.
That-
Hold on. Here, I'm gonna slide you a $1 bill across the internet for that.
So last week we talked about that I had a lot of struggles originally with 3D printing, and then I ended up getting a Prusa, no free brand deals,
Thanks, guys.
and
Sponsor us.
Please.
and I ended up getting a Prusa, and like once I started getting the prints and understanding really what was happening and really got into the hobby a lot more in the community, then my parents started to see like what it really was for, and it's not just, oh, I can print a little benchy, because that's what I printed a ton of at first. And then they actually saw I could print useful things, and then especially the beginning of this year, all of us printed face shields. So that was really, they saw what 3D printing could do, and the rest of the community that's outside of 3D printing saw what we could do very quickly and very cost effective for many situations.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that, while COVID is still a very real threat and problem,
Yeah.
COVID and the response from the maker community was one of the most amazing things I've seen in my experience here in this industry, of where a community said, F it, we don't care about the money. It's about saving lives. Let's get together. We're gonna run all of our printers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We don't care. Let's just do it. And it was so cool to see just this community of, I've never met a lot of the local makers because, well, like us, they're hermits. And so, staying inside, not going out, not talking to other people, not shaking hands. Hey, business as usual for most makers. But as soon as we got the call, makers have the ability to answer. And I think that was really, really cool. So, Brad, I know your story is kind of similar to Justin's in that you started with a printer. You had a
I started
less than
with
ideal.
I started with my aunt's flash forward
Yep.
Dreamer. That was interesting. I didn't really know what I was doing. It was just making random things. And then when she had to take that back, I got a Creality Ender 3. That thing worked great for a week or two, and then one small thing broke and it snowballed and it was bad. And then my parents helped me get my Prusa Mark IIIs, which was broken twice and they were user error.
Yeah.
The machine holds up very well.
Yeah.
It just works.
Yes.
Speaking of the user error, so I'll give away one of Brad's user errors. He scratched the bed, and the coating on the bed came off, and it arced and shorted the bed out.
You reminded me I need to repaint my bed.
I just had to do it. And I'm like, oh, there's some copper. Remember Brad. So thank you, Brad, for
I have a lot of copper.
Right. Well, let's back
every
up.
time I pick
Grant.
up,
Okay.
Did you just say that there's copper in a Prusa bed?
Okay.
What?
So
You have
first,
to
hold on.
repaint a bed on a printer?
Hold on. First off, Tad, this is Thomas's new role. He's gonna stop us and back us up whenever we do something
Which is
a little
good.
too technical. So this is good. My father thanks you, Thomas, for your selfless dedication to this. So
This one's for you, Grant's dad.
Dr. Posner.
Oh, Dr. Mr. Posner. This one's for you.
Dr. P.
So, Prusas have a heat bed, and their heat bed is a circuit board, and it's just a big trace of copper. And when you put electrical energy, the pixies, if you will, the electrical pixies,
The angry pixies.
they get a little angry, and they get hot. Well, there's a paint or some sort of coating. I don't know
It's
what
like a
the
coating,
coating
yeah.
is,
Yeah.
but there's a coating on top of that to electrically insulate it. Well, after removing the removable, flexible steel sheet heat beds, you can, over time, wear it down. And if you don't fix it by, either if you could take it outside
and if you're not
spray
aware,
paint
it's a
it.
problem.
If you're not
Yeah,
aware
but
it's a
then
problem, you're going to find out it is a problem violently when your
Yeah.
bed shorts itself
Like-
and you darn near crap your
then-
pants.
And then the house smells like burning PEI, which is not pleasant.
Yeah.
Can't
Wow.
even-
And for those that don't know, PEI burns at about 1,000 degrees centigrade. It's up there. It takes a bit.
And that's what you get if you have an arcing event. So
Yes, it is incredibly
And-
hot. And it's a $90 mistake. Actually,
And
Wait, what happened?
you got to get a new
My
bed.
arced. Oh.
Oh, it's shorted.
Yeah.
So it
plus
shorted
the
a
time
couple
it
of
takes to rebuild the thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then
Yeah.
get it shipped from Prusa. So,
Yeah.
or you got
Or
yours from
printed
Printed
solid,
Solid. Yeah, you got yours from
Yep.
Printed Solid. And of course, we love the guys at Printed Solid. If you are looking to get some really awesome filament, you should pick up some of the Brad's Orange Jesse PLA, because $1 from every purchase of that filament goes to supporting the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And if you are wondering, why are those two things connected? Go listen to episode 10. What the hell are you doing this far in and haven't listened to episode 10? Go back. Stop this. Go back and listen, then come back.
Brad, you should send me some really well lit, good looking pictures of that cinder block so I can sample the color from it and texture.
Thomas, they have really high quality pictures on their site, by the way.
They do.
Of that color.
Of all the colors.
I don't
Of
know
all their
if they-
colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Do they have the
It's
hex
solid.
code of the color?
Oh, and then we skipped over this
No.
PEI. I don't know what it stands for, but Grant, do you know what it stands for?
Polyether imide.
It's a material that it's the material that is put on. It's a sticker put on the flexible steel sheet, which you print on. It holds the material very well.
Only when it's hot. When it's cold, it tends to shrink and the parts pop off pretty easily. PEI is in the god level of plastics. Outside of literally hitting it with a map gas torch, you generally can't mess with it too much. Its street name, if you will, is called Ultem. You can buy it by the kilogram from 3DX Tech. Hi, Matt. Not sponsored again. And it runs about $600 a kilogram. And there are no printers that any of us own as of recording this video that can adequately and effectively print Ultem. You need lots of upgrades to do that. Heated chambers.
What temp does it print at?
Stupid.
Stupid eye.
Like 450 to 500C.
Well, because the glass transition temperature alone is 217.
Yeah, it's way
melting
up there.
point's way up there.
And it's the only material, as of recording, that you can 3D print as long as you have your cert for it from Sabic Enterprises, the company that makes Ultem, that can be printed and installed into an airplane according to FAA regulations without any further testing. It is a trusted material. If you can print it, you can put it in a plane. So,
Yep.
you know, a little bit of knowledge on the kids episode. So, Brad, you had the Flash Forge. You went to the Prusa.
No, I went to the Ender.
Oh, yeah, sorry,
then
you went to the
Prusa.
Ender. Because that's when I first learned about your journeys in 3D printing, when you brought that Ender in to one of the... it was a weekend build session when I was an FRC STEM club coach. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. It's an Ender. And we're like, oh, well, Brad, it's just... All right, let me back up. Enders are not bad printers if you don't value your time. If you value your time at all, do not buy an Ender 3. Okay, look, there are some people that have great experiences with them that, you know, oh my God, it worked out of the box, it's perfect. But by and large, a lot of them don't. And we were having this talk last night. The people that say get an Ender are the people that have never used a Prusa. Because, sincerely, it will take you 8 to 12 hours to build your first one. You can buy it pre-built if you really don't want to spend that time, although we highly recommend you buy the kit.
Don't recommend that.
Or you can get
You
the
can
mini.
get a mini. We have 4 of them still in the boxes that I need to unpack and set up. We're going to do a build off of that video coming soon. So keep an eye on our social media. And while you're at it, hey, give us a like if you're watching on YouTube. Throw us a comment. And if you're watching on Apple, rate us, or listening on Apple. Damn it, I did it again. Every few episodes, watching on Apple. No, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please make sure to rate us 5 stars or whatever the hell their system is now, and leave us a comment, because that helps us reach more people. Because don't you want more people to make awesome? Because we sure as hell do.
Grant, I have a question for the boys.
The boys.
Yes. So this is going to be a little off the. So when I was a child, which I again, I'm not going to say you guys are children because you're not. You're teenagers. When I was
young
a teenager, oftentimes I would be doing something that I wanted to do in my home, and then my parents would berate me with a good old, "It's dinner time. Come do this thing." And I'm like, no, I'm playing video games and I can't quit. So what do you want from me? And then I would deal with the backlash. Have you ever been in a situation where you've been like doing some 3D printing stuff and you have to be like, no, like I have to do this now, and if I don't do it now, like it's time sensitive, and I can't go and do that. Has that ever happened?
All the time.
Okay,
You
awesome.
have to watch the first layer, no matter what you have to miss to do so.
Not on
I walk
Versa.
away. I walk away.
No.
I'm giving up on
I'm
that.
the
Excuse
tool
me,
changer.
sir, you should never leave a 3D printer unattended. That is against the manual. Not that any of us listen to that part
You
of it,
just
but
take the whole 3D printer to the dinner table.
Just have a really long
Mine
extension
is-
cord.
you put it in the chair next to you and you feed it, okay? It's eating some pasta and so are you.
Mine is
just
actually
feed
next to
the
the dinner
pasta.
table, so
Oh my god!
the
You just
two of you
start
both have
feeding
3D printers
spaghetti
on-
into it.
Do the two of you both have 3D printers in your like kitchen dining rooms?
Well, my
There
printer
you go.
area is the kitchen table area.
I adore the fact that this seems to me like a subverted like adaptation and like subconscious thing that the
Oh,
parents
totally.
may have been like 3D printer needs to be like
Visible at all
in
times.
the kitchen, because if we're spending oh my god, that's hilarious.
they don't care where it would go, but I have no other room to like
Yeah,
put it where like I don't like it's easier to clean because it's like tile down there and not like carpet, and it's easier to like if there's filament scraps just pick it up off the tile and just there's
Brad,
it's easier just to do stuff down there.
take note about picking up those filament scraps.
The doggy.
Yeah.
Both
Well,
doggies. There's
yes.
a new doggo.
Oh,
You know-
new doggo.
you know what? Also, is a question that I haven't thought about before. Have your parents ever done something like egregiously stupid around your
Like messed it
printer,
up?
and you've had to be like, guys, why would you even touch this thing? Like,
Let's be careful. It's not stupid, potentially lackluster of consideration because of lack of
Or
knowledge.
lack of knowledge.
yeah, have they ever just been like, oh, I'll just move this, or like something along those lines?
I don't think so.
That's
I have
good.
mine
That's
set up. I have mine set up on smart outlets, so I can turn them off
That's important.
anywhere.
I forget
They've
that.
been accidentally turned off before by various people.
Uh,
But I don't
Yeah.
think they don't really touch the machines even when I ask them to. So
Yeah.
even when they ask you to. So you have the opposite problem.
It's like when I ask Amber to like, hey, do you mind switching filament? She knows how to do it, but I know there's like part of her that's like, oh no, I'm not doing this because if something goes wrong, he's gonna blame me.
Uh-huh.
And for anyone that's wondering, it's not about the loss of filament, it's the loss of time. That is
Yeah.
always the worst. The material cost is insignificant compared to the
Time you will never
expense.
get back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like literally a project that we just finished this past week. We did badges for an Audi RS6 Avant
Sick.
that
Those
was
are
being
sick.
decked out like the family truckster from National Lampoon's Vacation. We can actually talk about this now because it is a public thing. The badges were not installed when we took photos and things of the vehicle because they needed to be
I
custom
noticed that.
painted. Yeah, they need to be custom painted. But because I am wary of 3D printers and I don't trust them and I have no valid reason to trust them, we printed two sets. So we printed a set on two of our Prusa printers. One was time-lapsed. Huh? The other one wasn't. So when we delivered them, they actually both succeeded perfectly fine. So we delivered two full sets, and that enabled the company Cottrell Signs in North Lakeland to, practice and not be worried that they don't have a second chance. But boy, that
I
car
gotta
gets
say,
up and
Grant,
goes.
This is a hilarious relationship that you have with 3D printers, where it's like, yes, they're in my home, and yes, they
I don't
are
trust
a
them.
huge part of my business. But I'll be damned if I'm gonna trust these guys. No,
I'm gonna
way.
get them.
Look, I think I told you all about this in our Discord. We will have a link to that coming soon. Huh? We're gonna
Yeah,
open up our
boy.
Discord.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Add a
Probably.
few general channels in there.
Yeah, we'll
Maybe.
figure it out.
Just not. No. See, we have our private one with business stuff. Then there's some stuff below it that's public. We were doing a print for Just Fairy Fizzies, one of our clients that we can talk about too.
Super client. Love that stuff.
She's pretty great. honestly.
Yeah.
I need to go see her again because we're gonna do something cool for her with the animals that she has. But it failed. It was a 12-hour print. Failed like 10 minutes before it was supposed to be done. It jammed for no valid reason, but it jammed.
You
and
hate
I
to see
caught
it.
like 6 or 7 layers past the jam, but this was 0.07 millimeter layer height, so really, really thin. So there's a couple lines of it didn't look great. So as soon as I saw that fail, I resliced it for another printer, clicked print, and went to bed. And then in the
I
morning,
love
we had one good one.
how much I can relate to this because I don't 3D print anything because I don't have a printer.
Not yet.
However,
Yet.
yeah.
Yet.
However, what is hilarious to me is like I've been there where I finish a thing I'm working on and I press render and I'm like, it'll be fine. And I walk away. I go eat some dinner. I have a good night, all things considered, and I come back 4 hours later because I turned my monitor off, you know,
Get
'cause I'm
aborted
like,
or
you know what?
something?
I'm just gonna look away from it. And and then I get there and it's just like, it crashed. It crashed, Thomas. I killed it. And I'm like, okay, that's
Just
just
would scream into a pillow or something.
yeah, and I'm like, and if I try, I'm like, oh my god, like why? What
Threaten the
happened?
computer with bodily injury and
Oh,
Yeah,
my
so
God.
now whenever I'm running a render, I always like jiggle my mouse a little bit. I have the monitor on at all times, and I'll just be like,
It makes me think of like when I did finite element analyses, they would just crash for no reason. It's like, why?
you get
Oh,
some obscure
FEA.
error, and you type it
Oh,
into
FEA.
Google, and
Wait,
then it comes
Thomas,
back
you're
with
not
something
doing your
more
job.
obscure.
Tad,
Huh?
what the hell is a finite element analysis?
Finite
I don't
ele-
know what that
Wait,
means.
before we do
Thank
that,
you for stopping
me.
Yeah.
Before we do that, what is layer height?
Oh yeah.
Good
Are we
point.
going to get
Good
that
point.
nitty gritty?
Let's do it.
It's
Do
not
we
that
have to?
nitty gritty.
All right, Brad,
I
you
feel
brought
like
it
that's
up.
kind
Explain
of a
it.
basic, right?
Yeah.
Do it.
Give us the
Um,
rundown.
When a printer extrudes filament, you set how thick the extrusion is. There's the thickness. What do you call it? Top down.
X
The
and Y.
line width.
Oh,
There's a
line
line
width. Yeah,
width.
so that's how
That's it.
wide when it's pushing the filament out, it squishes, right? And so it comes out
Yep.
and expands. How wide do
And
you
then-
want that to be?
And then layer height is how tall the extrusion is. Like this was done, I think, at 0.1 of a millimeter.
We're not going to be able to see it.
Yeah.
Standard is, I think, 0.2.
And Brad, I actually think you're on the bad
Granted-
camera again. I'm not certain.
Nope.
Either way, it's irrelevant. It could be because my computer is slowly burning to the ground.
Good.
But yeah, if for some reason you're listening or watching this podcast and you don't understand something here, let us know in the comments because we will mention it in a future episode or chapter, I guess, because currently we're doing them every week, so it's not like we're planning out 6 and we record 6 in one weekend. No, we're doing them every single week right now. Every now and then we'll get ahead, but we are currently up to date. So, yeah, but Tad, FEA, what the sin is FEA? Finite element analysis.
Yes, finite element analysis in the engineering CAD world. Say you design a part, you've got your 3D model of it, but you want to subject it to. In my experience, it's mostly been to see what kind of place it's going to fail if you were to put like a load on it. Like say you had some kind of a bracket or something, you want to see, when I load up some weight on it, is it going to snap in half? So finite element analysis takes your 3D model and chops it up into little pieces, the finite elements, and then in each of those elements, it does the equations for stress analysis or something and spits you out this very nice, basically like a visual analysis of where your stress concentrations are. So you'll get like a heat map on your part that says, this red spot, that's where you're going to see the most stress. And so if you're not careful, you don't design it right, it'll fail there. So The best is when it's all blue and or green or something, because then it's like, oh yeah, it's not going to have any problems anywhere.
A really
and you
good
can kind
meme for this would
Yeah.
just be ran a finite element analysis on myself, and you're just a red silhouette. That would be that's the meme in this situation.
Good self-deprecating humor.
took a DNA test. Turns out I'm
Stressed.
100% stress concentrations.
Stress concentrations. I am all
Me.
stress concentrations.
Me.
Yeah, exactly.
Every percent of every finite element is stress.
Stress.
No, there's a little bit of strain, but that's all in my back.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, got the back joke in.
Hey.
Be nice to your backs, because 2 herniated discs turns you from being a fully functioning human to
Cripple.
basically. Dude,
I say it with love.
I got freaking. I was at Publix. I met up to get the boards for a project that we're working on from one of our electrical engineers, and the Amber had asked for me to get her some milk and some chocolate milk, because chocolate milk. And
Yeah.
I am stumbling through Publix, and the gentleman said, a guy stopped me. He's like, "Keep it up. Us disabled guys have to stick together. Keep going.
no.
Keep pushing, kid."
Oh my
I'm
God.
like,
Well, he's not wrong.
You're part of a new community. And that's
I was gonna
just
say,
really
Grant.
nice. It's supportive.
Look at that. Inclusion.
Time to join some more Discord.
But Tad, if there are things that look, inclusion is great, not for this.
Oh, Grant, please, we need to get a 3D scan of you so that, and I want you to be in a position of you holding your back. And then I want to make prints of you with back pain.
How
It'll
about
be
I
the
just
Grant
like
back pain.
throw
Let's
my
just-
MRI on the screen?
God, it would be so good to have little Grants in
Crippled
pain
Grants.
with their back, and then we
No.
could sell them and have like a Kickstarter. So
Oh yeah, pay for back surgery.
To heal you.
with little crippled Grants, and
Little
we could put them
cane.
next.
So instead
Oh
of
my-
the bundled up Bernie, which we did
Oh.
do, we'll show up. If you are watching us
Mhm.
on YouTube, we have our bundled up. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus on bundled up Bernie.
You
Yeah.
could be next to him with back pain. You could be like hanging out with him, and Grant, we could make a staff for you, like a cane, but it's like a big walking stick, and the top is like the logo, and it's
So I do have a big wooden walking stick, and there is a story behind it. It was given to me by a client, and I don't think he watches this podcast. Anyways, I didn't know if his money was good, because like this was a little sketchy. This whole scenario with this client was a little sketchy, and so I asked him to sign it, so that if for some reason he did a chargeback, I could compare the signature on the walking stick to the signature on the credit card.
oh my god.
And we did a bang up job on this. I think this was probably before Tad. Yeah, this was a while ago, but yeah, when I herniated 2 discs back in April of last year, that was the only thing that I could use to get around. And it looks like something that Gandalf would have. It's like almost 6 feet tall. It's it's a big thick vine that's been cured and then soaked in polyurethane. Or actually it's boat varnish, but effectively the same thing. But yeah, I will, I'll see if I can find a photo, and I
vine?
will share it to our private group, because Justin decides that he's going to take things that we don't post publicly and put them in other Discords.
Uh-oh.
Justin.
Wait, what?
Huh?
The pictures of me holding the Saturn that we never released, that you put in Matt's Discord to say that we were going to put that on the calendar. And then and my only response to that is I'm formally requesting centerfold.
As rightly
He's
you
on it.
should.
Hey, you're damn right. You're damn
Oh
right.
my god.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's the
thought that
talk
was gonna
of
be worse.
when you work for us, the things you get to see are privileged.
Hey, this is before that though.
Yes, that
But
is
a thing-
technically before we hired you.
A thing that won't be private will be, I'm going to manifest this into existence. I'm going to say it every day until it happens.
That's
a
what I
3D
do with the
scan
Making
of
Awesome
Grant's
Academy.
back pain.
We're
Grant's
not
back
gonna do
pain, the
that.
print. It'll
I
be a
tried
great
to do
3D
this.
printing meme. We could turn you into like the known, like, oh man, like feeling rough today. I'm just going to print a Grant with back pain because that's how I feel. And everyone will start
what
3D
is this?
printing Grant
Tweet
with
it.
pain.
Is this like a tweet at Chelsea from Chaos Cortec and have her do it?
Yeah, pretty
By
much.
the way, I did reach out to Andrew Sink. If you don't know Andrew Sink, you should check him out on Twitter. He is a maker extraordinaire. He had an episode on Billy Rubin's podcast of Meet the Maker. We'll plug Billy. Why not? We love Billy. We support her. He is one of the big guys that does MRI and CT to 3D print. He looked at my data. He's like, yeah, I can't. The data is nowhere near good enough. He said, I don't know what they were doing, but he said it looks like they just put the MRI on like crazy low resolution and just scanned you. He said, I can see the damage. Like it's clear as day, but we can't 3D model it. Because I would have loved to 3D print my spine. That would be cool. Then I could make all the spineless jokes when people try to haggle with us. Because, spoiler alert, unless you're ordering like multi-thousands of dollars from us, I'm not changing your price. Do you see everybody on this call right now, or hear everybody? Every one of them is being paid to be here, except me. Although I think 2 of them don't know that this is billable hours.
Congratulations, guys. You're going to get to write invoices.
Yeah, invoices are fun. Especially when you're losing $2,000 a month.
Well, see, that's your side of the invoice. My side of the invoice is a fun time because I get money.
Yeah.
But
But that's okay. That's part of January in a service business is always tough because accounting is like $1,000, and we've been purchasing a lot of 3D printers, so it's no surprise to us that we weren't profitable. It just hurts a lot.
Inside.
No, outside too.
it's just everything hurts.
It feels like my wallet is being just ripped from the back of my pants. Although I am not sitting on my wallet because that would contribute to further back pain.
Don't sit on your wallet. Basically.
No, don't sit on your wallet.
That's the don't do it.
It's gonna be like we're gonna go into chair talk. We have mic talk. We're gonna go into chair talk. Steelcase Leap V2. Anyways,
We got a little off the printing for kids stuff.
Yeah.
I was about to say we kind
Definitely
of
did.
okay.
gone off the rails.
Has there ever been an episode where we stayed fully on topic?
Definitely.
No,
Except way
but
back at the beginning
we
when it
gotta-
was just Tad and I. I think that's the only time we ever stayed fully on topic. Okay, so what are some challenges then of living in a home that's not yours, where you are not a breadwinner by any stretch of the imagination, and there are rules to follow? So what are some of those problems that you encounter of, hey, I wish I could do this, or, why doesn't this work the way I wish it did? What are some of the issues you guys find? And something that... So I guess I want to preface this very carefully. Your parents will probably listen to this. So let's preface it with that. Second, I would also like to know a rule that has been put in place that while that might make things a little more difficult in terms of the making, you believe is there for a very valid reason. So let's go with a rule you don't understand and one that you, while might inconvenience you, you fully understand it. Justin, you can go first. Brad, we'll give you a couple of minutes to think about it.
That they haven't let me get more printers. I wanted to get another printer, and I get it. There's not that much room to be putting more printers, and they don't want to deal with more of a mess because any flat surface becomes storage for me. So
that's why you got to get racks, baby. Racks on racks on racks. And then what is a rule that might inconvenience you that you understand? Or is that one actually encompassing?
it makes sense, but like I can make the room or build a Voron. The V0 is like it fits on the bed of the Prusa. So.
Okay, but it's also the price of a Prusa.
Yeah.
You were just complaining about how certain machines are too small and you want to build a V0. So for those that don't know, Justin, can you talk a little bit about the Voron project and particularly the V0, what it is and why anyone should care about it?
Well, the Voron project, they're all completely open source. there's not even kits for them really.
It's an open source
And
3D printer.
Open source 3D printer,
But
and
it's
they're
self-source.
Yeah.
You have to buy
Yeah.
every little nut, bolt, piece of aluminum extrusion, the smooth rods, whatever crap you need for it. It's all self-sourced.
but they're Core XY, which is different type of motion system than the Prusa's, and they're some of the most accurate and best like FDM machines you can really get. Like the best detail you could probably build if you can tune it perfectly, and the most sturdy. Because
And
for the V0, it's a brick.
It
That's
is
this big.
as long as you don't mind a 5-inch, a sub 5-inch cube build volume.
I mean, depends what you're making. For some people, that's plenty.
Exactly. And if that is plenty for you, and you're the kind of person that would love to self-source something, a V0 might not be a bad idea. Realize it's going to cost like $600 or $700. Isn't the V0 the one that uses the little tiny stepper motors too?
Yeah.
The
really
stepper
cute.
motors are so cute.
They're so cute.
They're
When-
not. Hold on.
When Taylor was posting pictures with like a Red Bull can sitting on it, and the Red Bull can was bigger than the entire printer,
This-
I just wanted one.
If you
I
are
wanted one.
watching us on YouTube, if you're not, maybe you should.
Is
when
that a
you're-
NEMA 14?
It's NEMA 17. It's a little pancake NEMA 17 stepper motor.
Oh, they're even smaller. They're the NEMA 14s.
The NEMA 14. I don't know how they're measured. I was gonna think that they were 17 millimeters, but they're clearly not. This is bigger than 17
clue.
millimeters. But yeah, it's smaller than these, and these are really, really tiny. But when the machine is so tiny, you don't have a lot of moving mass, so you don't need. Excuse me.
And you
big
can print
motors.
extremely fast with them. Like they have a benchy competition. I think someone got down to around 10 minutes for a benchy.
And that usually takes like an hour.
Yeah,
on
benchies
a-
normally
usually-
take an
On
hour.
non-Prusa.
So,
Yeah.
Brad, your turn. A rule that you don't understand and kind of makes things difficult for you, and then a rule that you do understand, even though it might make things a little more complicated.
I'm not just saying this because they're gonna watch it, but there isn't a rule that I don't understand. And then a rule that I understand, but like the tool changer, it's an experimental machine. It's not allowed to run unattended overnight. It shouldn't run unattended overnight anyway, but especially the tool changer.
And, you know,
Agreed.
I actually have to agree with both the things that Brad said. So I've spent a fair bit of time talking with your parents, particularly your mom, all about, 3D printing and like what kind of limits and everything to set. And yeah, your parents are actually incredibly understanding of this. They're incredibly supportive of
Very much
all
so.
that you're doing, which is really, really cool. Especially this is, I guess, it's becoming more mainstream 3D printing, but it used to be very fringe. And the lack of understanding leads sometimes to rules that are a little bit harsher than you might think is reasonable. So any kids that are watching this, please understand that the rules that are being imposed on you, if you don't think that they're fair, instead of saying, well, that's not fair, why don't you figure out why
kid
the
voice.
rule is being imposed and see if it's coming from a place of someone trying to protect you, the printer, and the home, or if it's a rule that's being made because of a lack of understanding. And if it's a rule that's
Because-
being made from lack of understanding, start them at episode 1 and move them forward.
I
Once
say, we
they
have
hit-
a remedy for that. Yeah.
We do. We have a remedy. It's called the Making Awesome Podcast.
So, a question that I guess I would have is like, if your parents were curious about 3D printing, and they didn't exactly get it, et cetera, what? Because you guys both, I'm assuming, actually I probably know this, but you guys are consuming some sort of content that is 3D printing and talking about it, and some of that's probably had an impact on you. If your parents were like, what is it, or why is it cool, and why should you have a 3D printer for the kids out there watching this, what would you show them? Like, how do you go about convincing, like what's the cool stuff?
If you go back to last week's
Yep, again.
It's true. Explain
ahead,
it
Brad.
again for those that didn't listen or watch.
Brad, go for it.
I mean, every now and then my mom or dad will leave some random part for something that dad had to glue something on his shoe the other day. I happen to have printed a clamp for whatever. I don't remember why I printed it, but I made it.
I
And
know why you
he now
printed
has.
it. You had no valid reason, but you printed it.
Because why not?
Because
Because I can.
Brad
Yeah.
literally 3D prints all the things.
Everything.
Like Brad even has a whole like a glob of failures that he just glues together with a 3D printing pen or something to
I get that, but I'm not sure it'd fit in the frame.
exactly.
Oh my God, Brad.
You don't
Is it just
need
like
that.
a
I didn't know-
Katamari ball of things?
Brad, I need a picture of this later.
Yeah, I'd like to. That would be good.
Like it's great for if you randomly need a specific part for something, or not even specific, but something that would cost $5 from the store. You could make in a couple hours for a couple cents. It's
The-
great
the-
for.
I was just gonna say the weirdest thing that I had the same experience when I went and visited Tad was he was printing chip clips, and I'm like, I'm not ever gonna buy chip clips. I will not do it because
No.
why would I do it? And the fact that he printed them, I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, there's a really
I'm
nice
like,
Yeah, they
dude,
work.
first thing I'm
My-
doing when I get a 3D printer.
there's a really nice cam lock one. If you haven't seen that, Tad, I'll link it later.
I've
It's
got,
it's,
like,
it's a full cam lock, so you clip it and then you can lock it onto it.
Oh, that's
You
nice.
should send that in our Discord so we can put it in the description of this video.
I
and
will once
be able to
once so I
tag the
don't
maker that
have
did it.
But Brad,
clackety
you were
clicky
saying.
keyboards.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Justin,
like
Justin has a Cherry MX Blue keyboard, and for those of you in the know, you're
What is
welcome for
that?
not allowing him to type.
It's loud. It's
Very
Mechanical
loud
keyboard.
mechanical keys.
yeah. I have less loud ones because I don't like them that loud.
Browns,
But anyway, Brad.
Yeah, Brad, you were saying though.
I was saying, my grandpa the other day, he went on Amazon to buy a couple of light switch covers because he didn't want to, for whatever reason, he wanted them. I heard about this, and I got him like 4 or 5 in Brad's Orange in a couple of hours instead of him
Wow.
waiting.
That's awesome.
They were cheaper than, sorry, they were cheaper than from Amazon and got them faster as well.
Can't you just
Cheaper
go to
like that.
Lowe's or
Amazon.
Home Depot and buy a light switch cover for $1?
But Grant, why
Or
would you?
less.
Yeah, but I
You
can
can make it
make one
yourself.
for a couple cents. I can make one for a couple cents in whatever color I want.
It's
I
the
have a-
small optimizations, Grant.
I have
Yeah.
a really cool.
And then
I'm going to point
I
out
have another
UL listing,
thing.
but then I'm just going to stop there.
I have another thing too. We just got a little puppy a couple weeks ago already.
It's adorable.
So adorable.
I'd show her, but she's asleep right now. I
Oh,
don't
you
mind.
can't
I
wake up the
don't
sleeping
don't want to wake the sleeping bear. But in the room, there are a bunch of exposed outlets around our house, and we don't want her to walk around and lick one of those and hurt herself. So I printed a whole bunch of outlet covers
Mhm.
See,
as well.
my dad is the guy that never covered the Atlas. He said they'll only do it once, and if they do it twice, they've deserved it.
Did you? Did you?
I don't know if I ever did. I will have to. I'll have to ask.
Follow up on that.
I mean, I don't like getting shocked by electricity, so maybe I did, and it's just kind of freaked me out ever since. Says the guy that's built Tesla coils, but whatever.
I have a really cool example of something
Let's
I've
do it.
printed. So we have like cabinets in our kitchen with shelves inside of it, and one of they're held on almost like a pegboard. It's
Yeah,
is
mhm.
how they're
Yeah,
held
those
onto.
things.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and one of the pins snapped, and the shelves fell inside of
Ooh.
the thing. Nothing fell out of it. Thankfully.
Oh, that's
and
good. I'm like,
Nice.
I'm
yeah,
seeing
I was like,
racks
dishes
of
and stuff.
dishes. Yeah.
That's what happened. At least it was only on one side, and it kind of like it caught it. It
How
fell
many
onto
broke?
something. None, I don't think. It
Damn.
fell onto the shelf under it, so it was fine.
Mhm.
And then so I ended up I designed an infusion and then printed it within an hour. I had it done, printed, and replaced the parts.
And
That
Nice.
is, and I couldn't find the part online quickly, so I was like, all right, I'll print it
Yeah.
and design it.
And then for those not in the know, Fusion 360 is a CAD modeling program.
what's CAD?
Well, we have an
Computer
episode on that.
aided
Baby,
or
But
don't
assisted
hurt
design.
me. Oh, yeah, we have an episode on that. What is CAD with TAD?
yes, but as Grant was as Brad, bleh. Who am I talking
Liz.
about?
Third time's a charm. Let's go.
One more
Bleh.
shot.
As Brad was saying, yes, computer aided design, right?
I've
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've been through the same
computer assisted or
aspect.
aided design.
It's free, right?
For students.
Yeah, it is free for makers as well, but there are some
For a year.
pretty heavy. I've never seen them not renew it.
Well,
Yeah.
as far as it goes for, I mean, in this episode, if we're gearing towards kids, great option if you're in school to
Yeah.
be doing this kind of stuff
If
because you have it.
If you're willing to work in CAD, if you've never like gotten any 3D modeling assistance before, do not start with Fusion 360.
Well, Brad, what do you
Tinkercad.
Tinkercad.
use, Brad? Tinkercad?
I use Fusion 360.
We're all Fusion.
Well,
here.
what did you start with Fusion 360 or did you have something before
I
that?
started with Tinkercad. Both are
Mhm.
made by the company Autodesk. They're very similar experience. They're different products, but they're very similar experiences. Tinkercad is you could do some really cool stuff with it, and it's fairly simple as well. My 7-year-old cousin has made a couple things in it.
What do
And
you
once-
use that on? Is it just
browser.
because
It's a
It's
web-based,
browser-based. Yeah.
no kidding?
Yeah,
so that's
once you-
really accessible.
Yep.
Even like
and
once
it's
you're
free
like
even if you're not a student.
yeah, even once you're like proficient in Fusion 360 even.
It's still useful.
I
It's still
use
useful.
Oh, yeah.
Tinkercad
There's some
almost at least once a week because to modify an STL, Fusion sucks for that.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
But
So
Tinkercad can do it.
awesome.
Tinkercad
And-
is awesome. If I
and-
need like beef up like something in STL from Prusa printers or Thingiverse, I will go take it into Tinkercad and do it. It's easier than
Wonder
doing
why
it
they haven't
And-
brought that functionality in.
I don't know why. Yeah.
Because STLs are
And
not parametric.
Okay,
Like-
let Brad talk.
and an STL is one of the more common forms of 3D model. It's standard tessellated something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Standard
I don't remember
tessellation
what it stands
license,
for.
I believe, is what STL. But initially, it was a reduction from stereolithography, because that was the first forms of 3D printers that ever hit the like internal or external were all stereolithography based printers because they needed that effective 5-axis control of 3D printing. Even though SLA is technically 3-axis, you can do curves inside of a part and make it dead smooth. Again, it's government and aerospace that pushes these kind of things and moves them forward.
And if you don't know what SLA is, I don't know which episode it is. You guys have an episode on 3D printing and the different kinds of 3D printing.
I don't know
correct?
what episode it is either, but yes, we did that.
Just scroll
It's
through
like-
the list.
Just go
6
through
or
it.
something?
Down there.
I don't know. It's fine. But yeah, I've enjoyed utilizing 3D printing just for one of those things of like, I mean, I could buy this, but why?
Well,
So-
it's both an enriching experience and it makes you feel powerful because it's like I can make these things. I don't have to rely on other people
That's
necessarily.
awesome because that means you are providing your parents with utility, which is an
Exactly.
incredibly good point to bring up if you want a 3D printer. Also, I'm going to keep willing this into existence. Mock-up. Grant is hurt back as a king, right?
Have you not
Am I
been
right,
paying
though?
attention and that's what you've been doing?
He can do
I
That's
both.
why
always
he hasn't
pay
been
attention.
moderating.
He can do both.
Yeah, I always draw, but yeah, and also Brad took up my mantle and was moderating, so it's all good.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we can have like a little stand, so it's like
We're
a
gonna make
trophy
this like a
almost.
D&D, like a 40 mil D&D figure.
We can make a
Yes.
small one and we can make a big one, like because why not? This would be great. It's all I'm saying. It's a great meme. It'll be a thing,
Crippled
It'll
Grant.
be like,
Hashtag
Crippled
crippled Grant
Grant.
on Twitter. Everyone start tweeting that.
yeah. Maybe we should go with back pain Grant. I feel like crippled Grant seems kind of
There's an
too
active
far.
workers' comp case, so I'm going to go ahead and keep my good little mouth shut because I could say some things, but it would get me into trouble.
Well, you don't want that.
Keep your mouth shut. But in the meantime, we need a 3D model of your body so that we can make a really funny print.
You want a 3D model
that's
of my
all.
body?
Yes, I do.
This
I
went
have-
places.
I've taken 3D scans of like, shoulders up every year since 2015. Yeah. Every year.
Great. Well, you
I
saw
can
the
see
pose.
the weight that I've put on since then.
If you can manage the pose, Grant. If not, that's fine. I can do it in post. It'll just take a long time.
He'll do it in post.
But all I need is a likeness because this is an important project.
Thomas,
and
there
I
are
need a
way more
texture
important
map.
products that will make us money. I want money, please.
But this will make us funny. Okay.
Funny
It'll get the
money.
social media interactions as
But
well.
does
Yeah.
funny
That's on
pay
it.
the bills? Because I
Eventually.
don't think I can go to Withlacoochee River Electric. Yes, that's the name of my power electric company, and say, "Hey, I've got 200
Memes.
funnies." It's
All I'm
basically the same
saying
thing, right?
is in Monsters Inc. they powered things with screams, and then later what they found was more powerful all along was laughter. So
Wow. Spoiler alert.
so we
For a
can
10-year-old
run
movie or
every
whatever.
If we're not making money, Grant, you don't need the power company because we have laughter. Okay? Come on. Like keep up. Like,
All of a sudden the lights go dim and I brown out.
dang it, we're not funny enough.
Mike Wazowski.
Oh wait, that's a great, in honor of this podcast, Grant or Brad or Justin, we need someone to print a model of Mike Wazowski, and then we can put it on social media to advertise this episode of the podcast. It'll
Done.
be great.
Done.
Great.
It's
Say-
going to
Sorry,
make
little boy.
no sense to anybody until they listen to it.
You have to listen to it. To understand.
Exactly.
When
We
we're
put the
almost
big
an hour
YouTube
deep,
thumbnail
so this is
red
good.
circle around it, and we're just like, why is this print in the thumbnail? It'll be great. It's a teaser. It's awesome.
And there you go, the marketing brain of 3D Musketeers at work.
Genius. Galaxy brain levels.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Galaxy brain.
Galaxy brain.
Galaxy brain, Grant.
Gigantic.
Gigantic, big brain stuff. Nah, I think it's interesting because when 3D printers first kind of hit the market, there wasn't an ability for me to have. I was older than you guys. I mean, I was 18 when 3D printers kind of hit. This was 2008. So I didn't have a 3D printer in my home with my parents. I had one in my apartment in college.
Sorry, guys, my headset died.
That's why we can't have nice
You're good.
things.
Is the microphone mount on this?
As long as you have a good microphone. If you don't hear things, that's
That's okay.
inconsequential. But our listeners and watchers need to be able to hear you. Yes.
Thanks for that, Brad. Good Mike Wazowski. That's a good one.
Are you all putting stuff in this Discord? What's going on?
Well, no, just don't worry about it. But Brad did find a very good printable model of Mike Wazowski.
Oh, God.
Then we can put Grant's
material.
face instead of the eye.
And it
Now we've got that's some big brain
Almost.
thinking. That would be so horrifying.
Almost.
Like a little locket, like a little pendant with Grant's photo in it.
Devices.
I'm getting uncomfortable.
That's perfect.
You,
That's what we
sir,
need.
Tad,
Oh my
I think you're
God.
on a different microphone now.
Yes, so good.
Whatever.
Oh,
He'll be around.
Nice. Well, good. Grant, as you were saying, sorry.
I just think it's a different dynamic, right? Because you guys are growing up with this technology in a home where when you first got 3D printers, just like, oh, okay, they're just going to print toys. And now that you're learning to do CAD modeling, where you're able to fix things and you're able to make things better, organizers for spice racks and, parts for the shelves and that kind of stuff. Now a 3D printer stops looking like a toy to parents and looks more like a utility tool. And
That's actually amazing because to think about it, it's almost like I start to think like, oh my God, this is like some Jetsons stuff. This is things
yeah.
that people back in the 70s and 80s were like, every home's going to have this thing that can just print you stuff that you need
There we
around
go.
the house. And that's legitimately a reality, especially with younger people picking it up. That will be a staple of homes, which is just crazy.
I think it will be. Now, with
There
that
is-
being said, you should not go out and just buy any random 3D printer. If you are curious about what 3D printer to buy, go watch our holiday gift buying guide episode because we talk all about printers that we recommend. Spoiler alert, it starts with Joseph and ends with Prusa.
Let's go.
Please, I would love to make like some sort of money
And then
for all the
we're all
Prusas
looking
we've sold.
up, waiting
Like,
for money to rain down. And
I
it has to
kid
be
you-
in the Czech krona.
I kid
Yeah,
you guys
very
not. I
cool.
have a handwritten thank you note right here from someone that bought a Prusa because of a phone call with me. You also sent a bag of Haribo gummy bears. Thanks.
Send those to Prusa right away. He needs to.
You
If we
don't
send
buy-
that.
Joe
You
will
don't
hand
buy the
deliver
Prusa
all.
machine.
Joe will pay you in
You don't buy
Haribo
the-
gummy bears.
You buy the gummy bears, yeah.
And
Hey, you don't buy the Prusa machine. You buy the gummy bears, and they just happen to come with a 3D printer.
well,
Mm.
either way, I wanted to thank you, Al, for your thank you for the help. Look, what people don't know is that in a business, some weeks are better than others, some days are better than others, but ultimately, when you're not making money and you're working hundreds of hours a week, it hurts. It hurts a lot. And to get these kind of thank you notes in the mail for people's lives that we've impacted,
Feels nice.
it goes a long way to being like, all right, yeah, I got like 2 more weeks worth of gas in this tank. We can go before I burn out again. But it is astounding for me to see, the different dynamics, right? I've been to Brad's home. I've seen the setups that you've got, and I look at this and say, my mother would have kicked the hell out of me if I had it like this. That's also why my mother never visits my home.
My mother does get mad at my mess, and
But like, even just having the machines out, because inherently 3D printers are not the most organized machines. Like they're not
Nor are they quiet.
polished.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, homie, you say these printers are loud. Let me bring the Taz over and let you play with that for a couple of days. It'll wake you up in the middle of the night.
No, but we don't run them unattended.
I
You're
mean,
never supposed to run it unattended, Grant.
Brad,
Hey, Grant.
I ran that printer for 120 hours and 49 minutes straight. So
And I'm also assuming that you did the responsible thing and you attended
Stared
that
at it the
machine
whole
for
time.
120 hours.
no,
you didn't break eye contact with it.
that was actually the first time that we ever used a Raspberry Pi.
Grant, more marketing ideas, please. There has to be a place on the print head somewhere that won't get too hot, that we can put googly eyes on, so that the next time you do a print, it will just be jiggling around and it'll be such a good time. And then we can call that printer like a fun name, and it'll be like the fun printer that we only print
Printy
good
McPrint
fun
face.
stuff on. Yeah, Printy McPrint face. That's perfect. Grant, this is $1 million funny idea. This is gonna keep the lights on. Okay.
So
Yes, it will.
not only have we done this, the Taz still has googly eyes on it. It's on the backside because the Taz used to sit in a window and you could see the backside of it. So when it would go back and forth, the eyes would shake. But we named it. It wasn't D'Artagnan because D'Artagnan is the full color 3D printer. I forget what we named the Taz. But we named, back when we had first started, every printer was named after a character in the story of the Three Musketeers. Because that's just what made sense to us. And it was a retail store, so people are going to ask, well, what printers? Well, this is the D'Artagnan model 9001. It is capable of 186,000 colors and weighs 1,000 US pounds.
As opposed to
Grant,
Shut up.
I
Dan.
just want googly eyes on a Prusa real bad. I just really want that
Okay.
so bad.
But, like,
You
hold
can-
on. Keep
You
You
talking.
got
can
all-
help that if you get a Versa.
you still got some.
I know that I could, but like that's
What if the googly eyes were this big?
Done.
yes,
Done.
yes, 100%. That's good. That's perfect. That's
put-
exactly what I want.
Put it on each Prusa and then run the Prusas the same print at the same time.
Oh, but
And then
mirrored.
they're-
Mirrored.
yeah, then-
so it's just like,
yeah.
Grant,
Yeah.
you could I
I
mean,
need
like,
those.
we had
really
these on a
had
robotic
to-
vacuum that used to clean the old
Oh my
shop.
God.
Grant, if you really had to, you could print a mount to make sure the googly eyes stuck
This
together
could be the
nicely
eye for
on
Mike
the head.
Wazowski.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're gonna have to just make sure you measure it so that you can print it to scale, because that's a pretty big eye. So that Mike Wazowski is gonna be heavy.
I'm
like
on it. Hold
hefty.
on.
It's gonna be a big guy. Yeah, but
74
once you're done with
millimeters.
that, if you've got another one of those eyes,
I don't.
please,
I only have one of them. The other one.
we
broke.
just need it. Everyone pulls out their gun.
I was gonna say
Yeah, they're in reach.
They're in the other room.
everybody has calipers.
Yeah, these are my calipers.
I have them. They're in the other room.
I can tell you how much the
No,
mass is in
I
between
can't
these
pinch
puppies.
too hard because the tiny violin will get damaged.
Yeah, can't hurt that guy.
No, that's an important.
Anyway, all I'm saying is googly eyes on the printer. It'll be the fun printer, Printy McPrint face, and that's where we print things like Mike Wazowski and Grant back pain. That's where we
Yes.
print those.
Yes.
Oh, it has to be back pain Grant.
Back pain Grant
Yeah.
or Grant pain in just like a really good. Then if you're really going to get into the Twitch thing, Grant, we can have a great emote that is just called Grant pain. And whenever you're having trouble in Terraria figuring out like a menu or something, everyone can just spam Grant pain. It'll be so fun. It'll be like such a great time. I'm all
And
about
then you gotta
this.
get stickers of this emote. And then
Yes, we need
Yes.
stickers.
Sticker
I have
Why don't we
sticker
get
and
bomb
stickers.
Spawn its thing.
I have sticker
Grant
and
pain.
stickers
And then,
because my
and then
Twitter's
you have to
back.
sticker bomb Printy McPrint face.
Wait, your Twitter's back, Justin?
Yeah, I finally have my Twitter back.
Wait, send me your @, so I can follow you.
Okay.
Just
I'll do it when I can
won't say
type.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there you
fair.
Yeah.
We'll make
Which is
sure to
probably
put
soon.
Brad and Justin's Twitter accounts in the description below. Justin muted himself so he can
You
type.
can type.
Just type
It's
it
that
in.
loud.
Yeah,
It
no,
really
It
is.
is. It's pretty loud. Actually, Justin's going to be designing a shock mount for his microphone. He just got himself a microphone arm, which made it so much better. But a shock mount will make it even more better.
What's a shock mount?
It's what's on your microphone.
Yeah, literally, your microphone
I'm
is
just
mounted.
kidding.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
kidding. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what a shock mount.
I would love to see you do it, Justin, but instead of like bungee cord, you use TPU, like just straight 1.75 millimeter TPU.
I haven't actually printed TPU.
It's good.
You
I
know,
like it.
I've
never
always
printed it.
hated it because for some reason I never get it right and it bunches up in the extruder. We had a project where I needed to print two things in TPU at like an emergency basis. I'm like,
Recently, yeah.
Yeah,
well, I needed
this week.
one, so I printed two, both perfect, no problems.
Oh, yeah.
At all.
I printed my Fitbit
Funny thing
band
is,
with it.
the TPU is still on. There's the black TPU that I use. It's still on the printer because if you are watching, we are currently going to be upgrading the time-lapse setup, which you've never even seen a time-lapse yet. We should probably look at fixing that.
Should put those on YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, they're like 11 seconds. We can put them on Twitter.
That's okay.
We should
Yeah,
put them
they're
on
not
YouTube,
YouTube.
though. Do
Just
that.
string them all together. We can string all
Yeah.
of them together. Like,
Yeah.
one,
Make a
like once week,
compilation.
or yeah.
My
Yeah, we can do a compilation.
14-year-old DSLR, 15. I got it in 20. I got it when I was the age of Brad and Justin. I was a sophomore in high school when I bought, or maybe I was a junior. It was probably a junior. When I bought that camera, it was a Sony Alpha 100. You can look it up. It doesn't even have live view. So we're looking to breathe some life into this bad girl, and I'm expecting some MOSFETs and relays today so we can turn what is effectively old and busted camera, because honestly cell phones take better quality photos than it, and go from a 2 megapixel resolution, which is a Wise Cam, to a 10 megapixel resolution. It will be much louder. I'm gonna hear across the shop.
Yeah,
But,
once every minute or two, depending on the layer size.
That's okay. I'm excited because we are doing a big push for marketing, and I think that's one thing that young makers should learn is early on, make sure you are talking about what you're doing to your friends, to their friends, to your enemies, because why not?
Your frenemies.
You might, well, an enemy
That's an
of
often
an
missed
enemy.
market.
It is. Hey, you can turn enemies into friends with enough money, I guess, or 3D printing.
Enough 3D printed chip clips goes a long way.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yo, Holmes, can I get a chippy? Something I don't know. We're going places that I don't feel comfortable
Yeah.
going.
No.
I think
anyways,
I'll stick to the funny, Grant. All right.
That's a good idea.
I'll stick to being injured. You'll stick to being funny.
To exploiting said injury for funny. I'm
Hey,
gonna do
look,
that.
if that gets more eyes on what we do, because realistically, making fun of me is not going to make us money, and that's okay.
You could.
'cause
You never
it's
know.
not going
Never
to.
say never.
It's not going
See,
to.
Grant, that's a very negative attitude towards what could be a very positive business strategy.
We can turn it profitable when I'm better. For now, we'll just make it as a funny and a way for people to get their eyes on what we're doing.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
ultimately, the more people that see what you do, whether that's us as 3D Musketeers, whether it's Brad, whether it's Justin, Tad, or Thomas, or whoever you are listening in the land of somewhere else.
Nice.
More eyes on what you're doing is always better. Because you don't know who these people are that are out there watching you. And if you're able to educate them, they might decide they want to get into the industry. And now you're the person, instead of asking the questions, you're the one providing the answers. And it's a really, really cool thing. And I think I mentioned this on Brad's episode a while back. It's been so wonderful to see from the outside Brad growing in this industry from someone who was just asking 10,000 questions a day, which I never got upset about. I loved it. I love helping people out. To someone that is now answering questions for other people. It's so cool. Very much a they grow up so fast moment, but this has been in less than a year, Brad. You've gone from
It's right about a year now.
Yeah, basically. You know, you've gone from someone that has, you know, a little bit of experience to someone that can viably hold their own in a conversation about this. And that's really cool. And so what happens is you get exposed to topics like engineering, graphic design, art, sculpting, electrical engineering. Did I say mechanical engineering? If not, I'm going to say it again. All of that helps you better choose where you're going to take your life. And viably, if you're playing with a 3D printer, you're likely looking at some sort of a STEM or a STEAM career. And that's awesome. And that's a huge resume builder because ostensibly you guys don't have anything to put on a resume. And when you do, you kind of, you know, blur the line between what I believe and what I don't. Justin. But at least your resume was well built. I have a feeling you got a lot of help from your parental units.
Actually,
for that.
I did that myself. I had to do that for the Business 101 class. That was an assignment to make a resume.
Well, there you go.
I didn't send it to you guys, but I was like, I looked at it and said, this kid knows how to format a resume. Ain't nothing on it, but he knows how to format a resume.
It's there but open for additions.
Again, all you have to do is do that one thing that gets someone to remind you, whether it's a wooden business card. This is one of the ones featured in our social media posts because I still have the stack that I used to take the photo. Or it's
I have one somewhere.
Do you have one of the newest ones with the new logo?
No. I have it from, I think it was like STEM Club last year.
Okay, so you have a really old one. That's the nice thing about having a laser cutter. We can just iterate our business cards. In, you know, an hour, I can have 15 new cards done. But that's what makes this industry so interesting. And especially when you're young and your brain is still, you know, forming and such. I don't know. You're still able to learn stuff without it hurting.
I'm pretty sure, what is it? It's like
It still hurts.
the brain
Yeah.
isn't like fully developed until like you're over 30 or something. So yeah, it's like something like
shit.
I thought it was 25, and then the other day I looked it up, and apparently it's even later than that. So I'm gonna take that as an excuse for as long as possible that I don't have a fully developed brain.
I'm 31.
Just blame
is
it on that.
this as good as it gets?
You're done, baby. It's over.
You're done, Grant.
Yeah.
So what is this? My back goes out. Now my brain is going out.
This is the
Your brain's not going out.
Grant.
It just like, you know,
It's
your
downhill from
peak
here.
It's like a
nationality.
balloon
Yeah,
that's
it's all
slowly
downhill.
deflating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that feeling.
Don't even
wanna
want to ask.
know.
Not prodding
not
into
gonna
the
ask
balloon
about that.
deflating thing.
Pfizer
that's a
makes
good
COVID
note.
vaccines as well as something to us.
Oh man. Well, that's good, but I should probably go do things.
Yeah, we want to call it here. All right,
Probably.
Brad, Justin, anything else you want to say before we call this one an episode?
Buy a 3D printer and join the community
No,
of
buy a
dealing with
Prusa.
us. Well,
Brad-
yes.
yeah,
Brad had the right correction. Buy a
had
Prusa.
it. Yeah.
Straight up.
Always Prusa.
Prusa
that's
Mini,
it.
it's like 8 or 10 weeks, but it's worth it. Or rather, the Mini Plus.
It's
I
like
Use
400
that
chips,
use
right?
that time to learn about it. Read the manual.
And learn
Read the
CAD
instructions
so you can
before.
design things. And learn CAD so you can start designing things as soon as you want to,
Mhm.
or even before
And
you get
if
the machine.
if you are someone that is trying to get a 3D printer in your house and you're having a little bit of friction, have your parents reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to talk to them about the actual dangers, the actual benefits, and how all of this can work in a standard home, apartment, whatever it might be. We want to see this technology get in the hands of more people, particularly printers that are good. PrusaPrinters.org, Prusa3D.com,
Shop.prusa3D.
shop.prusa3D.com. All the links will
Please
be
sponsor
down
us.
below.
Proliferation.
Yeah,
Sponsor.
basically, what's up, Joe? Give us some of that.
Please.
Look,
Joe.
honestly, we would work for satin sheets at this point.
Yeah, that's all we need.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
Anyways, guys, it's been a pleasure having you both on here. As always, we go off the rails, but that's fine. We have a lot of fun. If you are watching or listening and you have any questions, our contact information is in the description down below. Follow everybody on Twitter so you can support this maker community because, well, it wouldn't be this way if it wasn't for other makers. So take care. Don't forget to call your loved ones as always. Keep making awesome. Take care.